Hey YouTube, so I want to talk about Donald Trump declaring that he's going to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum, 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum. And Canada's basically freaking out. You know, I think it will be a big wake up call to Canada. I'm Canadian, but I haven't been in Canada for a long time. And ever since I've gotten back, I've realized how monopolized a lot of things are here, like the banking, the airlines, the telecom. All of that's like totally. And milk here costs like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times more than it does in the States, as well as eggs. All that stuff is monopolized, and they don't allow competition from the States. In the banks, if you want to open up an account, you have to make an appointment to open up an account and stuff. It just seems like they don't care. They don't care about their customers because they got everything on lockdown. Same with the milk. They just charge whatever they want because nobody can compete with them. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like Canada's stagnant in a lot of ways, and they're pretty hypocritical if they're criticizing the states for wanting to impose tariffs because they don't allow you to bring stuff into here. If you go to the states and try and buy a computer or a phone or something, they would freak out if they caught you like trying to bring it back. So I mean, they really are getting the sweet end of the deal. On top of that, they don't really have much of a military. They're relying on the states to protect them. So they got all that extra money, and pretty much they're completely dependent on the states, and the states isn't dependent on Canada. So I mean, if the states decides to go after Canada, then they're pretty much going to get steamrolled. But like I said, it'll be a good wake up call for Canada because it just seems like people here are in a daydream. Trudeau is just going around the world like a clown. I don't know if you saw the pictures of him like in India where he was dressed up like an Indian with his whole family, and then the Indian president didn't even meet him, and the Indians are criticizing him for that, saying he looked like so foolish. And like it's all they're worried about is like transgender rights and refugees and everything like that, instead of just like worrying about their own citizens or business or any kind of practical things. It just seems like Canada's just, you know, hasn't had to compete with anybody for such a long time that they've lost their minds. So I think if they do enter a trade war, it might be a wake up call, and maybe we'll get stronger leadership. I don't know. What do you think about what would happen in a trade war between the states and America? I mean, I can see the Canadian economy crashing pretty soon. Things are pretty crazy in Vancouver. I mean, they're totally dependent on China, but it's like worse than California. They're not even producing anything. It's just a total fantasy. The most basic just dump of a house cost $1 million, but there's hardly any industry here. It's just totally a bigger bubble than California ever was, and people are saying it's never going to crash. It's never going to crash, but I feel like it's going to crash soon, and this could be the catalyst that brings it down.